Hello everybody, it's Dana Sullivan, the Stampin' Chick, here with day 6 of the 13 days of Halloween treats. How are you today, my friends? You've probably thought that I went off grid and wasn't coming back, but I had a little bit of a tumble down the stairs, just a couple of them, not like the whole flight. But let's just say I don't bounce quite like I used to, and I was a little bit sore, a little stiff, you know, all the things you might expect when a person falls down a couple of stairs. But I am back, and we are doing day 6, and it is absolutely adorable. I can't wait to share it with you. So we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? So when you come in, say hello, leave a comment saying hi, let me know where you're viewing from, and we'll go ahead and get right to it, okay? All right, so first of all, I am using Them Bones Stampin' Die Bundle. And actually, I'm not using the dies at all, so I'm just using the stamps. But I am using a little piece of the Designer Series paper that coordinates with this suite. So I'll be using that. I really like this plaid, and I think that it could easily be used for some Halloween projects as well as some Thanksgiving projects. So it's very versatile in that way. So we'll get to what supplies you're going to need. Obviously, you will need the Bag of Bones stamp set. I'm going to be using pumpkin pie and memento black inks, so you'll want to have those on hand. I have one of the envelopes. This is the gift card envelope from the holiday catalog. You get a whole package of 20 of them, I think, for $6 or $7. They're a really good deal, and I have done some really cool projects with these things already. So this time we're using one of them as the base, the pocket for our little treat holder here. So it does all of the heavy lifting for us, which is just absolutely fantastic. I have a piece of black cardstock that measures 3 3/8 inch by 2 1/8 inch. And this one I have embossed with the Distressed Tile 3D embossing folder. And I had initially intended on doing that with this one, and I got so excited once I punched the little notch out of it that I just went ahead and glued it on, like, oops. So this one is going to be a little bit different than the sample, but that's great because you'll get to see 2 different ways of doing the same project. Plus, this stuff is really pretty. I mean, can you see all the detail there? I hope you can. This is an absolutely gorgeous embossing folder, and I dare say that on basic black, oh my, does it have a perfectly haunting Halloween vibe? I love it. All right, so we've got that. And then we're going to be using quite a bit of punches today. We're using the Lasting Labels punch for this piece of DSP. We're using the Handmade Tag punch for the basic white that's going right here on the front. We're using the Decorative Circles punch for the pumpkin pie layer in the background. And then we're going to be using the 2 3/8 inch circle punch to get a semblance of this right here. Now, as you can see, it's not exact, but you know what? This is a handmade gift, and if a person is more interested in the space here than they are eating that chocolate, well, there's just something wrong with them, I think. So you can tell them I said so, too. Like, okay, well, if you're more interested in that, I'll just take the chocolate. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye now. We're not worried about that. This is a homemade gift, and it's absolutely gorgeous. They're going to be worried about other things besides that little space. So we're not going to worry about it either. All right. So I'm going to use the 2 3/8 inch circle punch, and this is what I have left over. So I am actually going to just wing it, which is kind of a scary thing because, you know, you never really know what you're going to get when you wing it. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. I also have a 1 by 1 1/4 inch piece of scrap basic white cardstock. This is just to put the sentiment on here. And I didn't really care for how this one turned out, so I'm going to do it just a little bit different. You'll see that tonight, but it'll be right here on this piece, so I've got that. And then I've got some of the black and white 1/4 inch gingham ribbon. This is the one from the annual catalog, and this is about 10 inches worth approximately. And then I've got approximately 12 inches of white twine from the Essentials twine pack, okay? So we're going to use that to tie our little bow right there, as you can see. Now, the reason why I have 10 inches of ribbon here is because I left it long just in case I might want to tie it around a gift bag or something like that. I have plenty of ribbon here to tie it also, okay? If you already know what you might want to use this for, maybe you don't even want this much, maybe you just want a little bit to keep it cute, you can do whatever you want to do. Alright, so before anything else, let's go ahead and punch this, and we're going to see if we can line this up. I could put a little dot of glue on it, but I'm going to just wing it because I want to see if I can use these scraps for something else. So let's see if I can put that in there without sliding it all over. I bet I can't. Bet I can't. Alright, well, you know what? I can't. But that's okay, because here's what we're going to do. We're going to line this up with the points. So we want the points of our paper to be touching the edges of the circle, okay? So just bring it down until you get it to that spot. You'll see what I mean. Let me line this up, and I'm just going to grab it a little bit here. So what I have is I have the tip points of my circle, or of my cardstock piece, touching the edges of the circle. So you would see, if it's in a little bit farther, you'll start seeing a gap between the cardstock and the edge of the punch. But I have it just far enough back to where the tips touch the corners right there, okay? Let's go ahead and punch that out and see how we did. We did pretty darn good, my friends. Pretty darn good. Okay. I'm going to take some Memento Black ink and a sponge dauber, and I'm going to apply ink to pretty much everything. I want this to be a little spooktacular type treat. So I'm going to put a bit of black ink around the edges, just to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. We want it to have a nice spooky feel, not so stark and solid lines. Here we go. Alright, and I also want to do this right here because it kind of shows, right? We don't want that little spot to be stark because it's going to show right here. And then we're going to flip it over and just add a little bit of ink to this side. Not that we're going to decorate this side, but just to have it have a nice little finished look on one side, you know. We want the back side to look kind of pretty too. And we can do this with this particular treat just by adding a little bit of ink to it and giving it that kind of spooky, shadowy look. And that's really all we need to do on this side. Okay, there we go. Now we're not going to worry about putting anything on the black because, well, it's black. Alright, we'll put some around the edges of this piece though. Okay. And we're just kind of turning our dauber to get into those corners just a little bit. It's a little difficult right there, but don't worry too much about it. You get what you can get in there and you don't worry about anything else. Here we go. Okay. Alright, there's that one. Now, the good thing about doing this on DSP is that you actually, first of all, you can tell a difference. So here it is without any ink on it. But do you also see where it was punched? It kind of, like around the edges, it shreds the pattern on the paper, so it's got some white to it. And if we use a little bit of ink, not only can you see it on the DSP, but you're also really cleaning up the edges of the paper. You're giving it a nice finished look. And you can do this with other papers, with other colors. It doesn't have to be black and it doesn't have to be Halloween-y look. Just adding a little touch of color to the edges can really give your punched and die cut pieces a nice finished look. Okay, so just a little bit more here. Alright, and then there you go. So I hope that you guys can kind of see the difference there. Okay, and then the last one here, right around the edges. I really like this decorative circle punch. It's one of my favorites. You can do so many cool things with it. Okay, there we go. Now then, let me bring in my Pierce mat and a scrap of paper, because we're going to stamp our little skeleton man right here on the corner of this piece. So, as always, tap, 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 not smush, smush, smush. Okay, and then we just want him to kind of hang off the edge a little. Right. Something like that is pretty good. Okay. And then let me cover up my ink pad so I don't get it all over me, because sure enough I would. Alright, and then the other thing we're going to stamp is Boo to You. Now on my sample I've got it in black, but I'm going to try it in pumpkin pie, because I was thinking, you know, it really could have used just a little pop of color right there. And then I have the ability to ink around the edges in black, and it would actually be noticeable. So we'll ink that. We're going to kind of fussy cut around here, and I cut it a little bit closer than I would have liked, so I'll change it up and add just a little bit of space here. But while we're waiting for this to dry good so we don't smear it, we can start assembling our tag. We're also going to use just a regular handheld hole punch to make our hole. So we're looking right about in this area here. We're just going to kind of eyeball and line it up. And there we go. Alright, now then, I want to use multi-purpose liquid glue because I really want this to have a good stick. I don't want it to pop back off, and because it's embossed, I feel like the liquid glue is going to get into all of the little nooks and crannies of the embossing, and it'll help it adhere better to my envelope. Okay, so I really want to make sure I'm getting close to the edges because this piece is going to kind of round a little bit. It's going to curve right here when the candy is put inside the envelope, so we don't want it to lift off the edges. Okay. Alright, so let's take this and we're going to line it up with these three edges here. Best we can is good enough. And just like so. Okay. There we go. Give it a nice press. Okay, now I'm going to put a punch right on top of it just to give it a little bit of weight and get it glued down there good. Okay. Now we're going to go over here to these things. So I've done a couple of things. First of all, I cut this and I cut this in half. Alright, so what I mean is I took my scissors and I just snipped it in half. I am not at all worried about how straight it is because it's going to be hidden. It doesn't even matter. Okay, so we're not worried about it. All right, now then, I want to put these pieces right here, and I want, uh-oh, I cut it the wrong way. Oh no, don't cut it that way, cut it that way. Oopsie. All right, well, let's see here. Let's grab another piece of DSP. And we're going to save that because there will be something else that I can use that on. I am sure. Oops. Okay, so let's punch another one here. All right, we're okay. We're good. We're good. This is pretty cool, though. We'll be able to use that for something else. No problemo. All right, get my sponge dauber and my black ink again right quick. Okay, I was thinking that looked weird. How did I attach that? But that's why, because I cut it the wrong way. Shame on me. All right, here we go. It's okay. We all do a little oopsie now and then, and it's okay. All right, back on track here in just a hot second. No problem. There we go. Okay, now we're not cutting it that way. We're cutting it this way. There we go. Okay, let's set this one aside. All right, now that makes sense. Okay, what we're doing is we're going to bring this in and we're going to line the corners up with the notches right here. Okay, so I want to take a little bit of my Stampin' Seal and I'm going to go, well, I'm going to go right here on that side of the little notches. So I'm going to draw a pretend line. There we go. And then right there on the end as well. And then the same thing on this side, a pretend line and a little dot. Okay. Now then, I want to line this up as best I can, right about there, and right about here. Now this does not have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about that. Please don't worry about that. Don't get crazy, but I really like to make it, I like to make it even, but that's just me. All right, now then, we're going to take this one this way, and it's going to go just like this, okay? So the reason we're doing that is because if I were to have left that in one piece, you wouldn't see much of it, just the tiniest little bit, and I didn't like that. I wanted it to have just a little more. So this is a way that you can modify the sizes of your punch without obviously modifying the size of your punch, because, I mean, it's metal. You can't modify it. But you can make some modifications to the punched piece so that it gets bigger, or smaller, in fact. So, for example, with this one, okay, this is its original size, but if I wanted to, I could cut that little section out, and forgive where it's overlapped, but I could just cut those little points and make it a smaller label, right? And if you put a piece of cardstock, white cardstock in the center here, you would not even notice that. Now you could get really, really technical and line up lines and dashes and whatever, and then it really looks like it was meant to be that way, and no one would ever be the wiser. But you get the idea. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a little bit of adhesive along the bottom edge of our pumpkin pie piece. And on this one, quit that. Okay. And then we're going to line it up however we feel like. So I just want to give it a little bit of something right there. And then on this one, my goal is just to make it line up with the edges so it looks like it's all one punch, okay? Not too shabby. And I feel like maybe I want to bring that in just a tiny bit more because I really want it to be more like a circle. So let me take that one just a little here, and more like that. There we go. I like that. That's good. That's good. Right there is great. Okay, now we have this, and no one is going to see this because we are about to attach this bugger to our treat holder. No one will ever see it. So I'm going to put a few dimensionals right there in that space. Okay. Give them a good little press. Alright, let's see here if our candy holder is gonna hold, and it looks like it is. Fantastic. Let's take our backing off here. Come on, backing. Sometimes this trick works and sometimes it doesn't. Honestly, my luck is about 50-50. Alright. Now then, line him up right here. There we go. Okay. Now then, for this piece, let me get this stuff out of the way here. For this piece, all I'm going to do is a little bit of fussy cutting. So I just kind of want to give it a little halo. There we go. Not being too tight with it, not being too particular. It doesn't really matter. We just don't want the stark square of the cardstock shape. So we're just giving it a little oomph. Just a little something, something to make it not look so Okay. There we go. See there? Beautiful. Alright, now then, we can take our ink and just ink up the edges a little bit. Give it that little spooktacular look. There we go. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I really like the inked edges look. It's one of my favorite techniques. I would do it on pretty much everything if I could. Okay, there we go. And then we'll put it right about there. That looks better. That is so much better looking already. Wait till you see the two side by side. Okay, so you always get clarity with practice. Okay, there we go. I've got my little treat in there. Oh, by the way, these little Kit Kats, super stinking cute. So this is a crisp wafer in white cream. And there's a witch one that is green. And I don't think I have one in here, and I don't think I've used one yet. But I got these at Target. So you can find these at Target. They're super cute, and I always love when my candy wrapper matches the treat holder. It's one of my favorite things. All right, there we go. We have that. Now then, we'll just take our ribbon and string it through the hole here. Again, you're going to have quite a bit of tail. It's that way so that you can tie it around a gift bag. And then I'll take my white twine and I'm going to tie a bow. Okay, come in tight. There we go. And then make a beautiful little loopy loop. There we are. Very nice. That's very nice. Okay, now then, my tails aren't even and I really need them to be at least a little closer, so we'll trim that just a tiny bit. And I'll trim my tails here just to give them some pretty, because I don't plan on tying mine just yet. Ooh, that one's kind of straight. Ugh. Let me try that again. There we go. That's better. All right. There we go, friends. Super stinking cute. Boo to you. Kit Kat treat holder. So here are the two different ones. Look at the difference that the different ink color and the embossing makes. Even just the embossing to the background makes a huge difference. You see that? So cool. Alright guys, I hope that you all enjoyed this little treat holder. I will be back tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. for day 7 of the 13 days of Halloween treats. I promise we will get all 13 days done fairly soon, and you'll be able to have them all here in plenty of time to do all of your fun little Halloween treats. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the project, and I hope that I will see you again tomorrow here at 8 p.m. Thank you. Bye for now.